What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans Real Talk. The Olympics are complete. The United States still reigns as the kings and the queen, excuse me, of the world. We definitely run this. The balance and difference in the medals is not even close. But we're gonna talk about the Olympics. And I see all the football questions in the comments, so we're gonna get to all of those in just a minute. First, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
What's really good, bro? First of all, happy birthday again. I gave you a shout out on Friday Night Live, but I knew you was partying it up. But Will Gordon also said to tell you happy birthday. Like I said, we were on the live. I didn't
Appreciate
think he was
that.
on the login. But just so we're clear before we get to the questions, shout out to all the supporters that's in there. We see ya. Will Gordon, what it do, baby? I see you, my brother. Um, Jason Tatum played in the gold medal game. Steve Kerr went undefeated as a head coach in these Olympics. Steph Curry had two great games. LeBron was the MVP. All is right with the world. There should be no drama, correct, Trip? There should be no drama surrounding these Olympics, I would hope.
Well, there's always gonna be some drama because people got things to say. Some people feel like Braun shouldn't have got the MVP. There was a little controversy with with the ladies. They had a close finals matchup, so the world want to know if the rest of the world is catching up to Team USA. Um, so yeah, there's always gonna be a little bit of controversy. First and foremost, thank you again. Appreciate the B Day love. We'll go ahead and shout out to you as well, my brother. Appreciate you. It was definitely a great birthday weekend. And shout out to the supporters, man. I always got to highlight Hoop Baller Scoop and Imani because they be on it. They make sure we are doing what we're supposed to be doing up here. So shout out to both of them. Imani is like low key our producer on the show, but I'm excited, man. The Olympics are officially complete, and the United States did what they came to do. Now, I was hoping we would have got the edge at least by one on the gold medal count, but we tied with China for the most. But we are the only member of the 40-40-40 club with 40 plus gold, 40 plus bronze, 40 plus silver on the medal count. As expected, as we called, Team USA on both sides of the basketball, they did what they were supposed to do. For the most part, both the men and the women dominated and kind of ran through the tournament. For the men, up until the semifinals, I think that was like their first close game, and then obviously, we saw everybody saw the finals against France, and same thing on the women's side. They pretty much ran through the opposition. Had a little close one in that finals game versus France as well, but they did what they were supposed to do, and I think is that 61 now straight? Is that 61 straight for the ladies?
It's in the
In a
60s, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, talk to me though about we'll start with the men first. Uh did LeBron deserve the MVP?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And no disrespect to Steph, who was amazing in the last two games. He had 17 threes combined in the semifinals and gold medal game. But Braun was so consistent throughout the Olympic tournament that it is well deserved. And we know the triple double, and we know what he provided in terms of a leader. We talked about it beforehand, that he, as the elder statesman, and this is probably his last Olympics, he was going to be relied on to provide the leadership and show some of these guys this is what it takes to win a gold medal. And I thought he did that from start to finish. He was the most consistent player on Team USA. I know, Embiid had his moments, KD had his moments, obviously Steph those last two games. But from start to finish, it was LeBron James. And we even had people in the comment section after the first couple games wondering, like, is this a better version than LeBron than we see even in NBA regular season? So it definitely was LeBron.
Yeah, agreed. You said the key word there, consistency. Uh Through every game, LeBron showed up and showed out. Double digit scoring. He was filling up the stat column, led the team in assists and rebounds. He had the triple double. KD was great, but KD, I don't think KD had a consistent throughout. Steph, we know didn't was struggling because we spoke about Steph last week struggling. Embiid, same thing. We spoke about Embiid struggling, and then finally him turning the corner. You know what I mean? And Ant Man, shout out to Ant Man. I think he had like two really good games. Everything else was was mediocre. But LeBron James was the consistent throughout. And he deserved it. He definitely deserved to be the MVP. Shout out to Steph Curry though, because we don't win this gold medal if Steph Curry doesn't turn it on in the semis and in the gold medal game. So big shout out to Steph Curry. I think Eric, we owe Steph one of these. We owe Steph one of those. Salute. I seen in the memes and whatnot, because you know everybody got a million memes. They said the Team USA is now ranked up there with the firefighters from 9/11. But that's
I
just an
did see that.
accident.
I did see that. They said Team USA is right alongside with the 9/11 firefighters in terms of heroes for
Uh,
the country. I mean, I think Steph was great in those two games, and I see Will Gordon's comment as he mentioned. Steph probably did show up or saved his biggest moments for the semifinal and the final game. And I'm on record
mhm.
as saying when Will Gordon and I were together on Friday Night Live, if not for what Steph did in the first half against Serbia, we probably get run out of the gym. Steph kept them in the game until Embiid and KD and everybody else kind of woke up. But the MVP is not just based on the medal games, it's based on the totality of the tournament. And based on the totality of the tournament, I don't know how you could say it wasn't LeBron James. Early on, again, Steph struggled to the point early where people wondered, are we even going to see a Steph moment? So
Yeah,
LeBron made sure that everything was smooth sailing leading up to that. Steph showed up when it mattered. He hit some of the biggest shots in Olympic history, but it is LeBron James. LeBron again was the most consistent.
yeah, absolutely. All right, I know we don't usually do this, but we're gonna come back to the Olympics because I'm seeing in the comments y'all want us to go to football now and get the football out the way. And you know we love to show you guys. You know what I'm saying, this is an interactive show, so we're gonna switch over. We're gonna go to football first. Let me just throw Imani's comment up here. Save basketball for last. I
The
got you,
executive, the
producer. We
executive.
got
I was
you.
about to say the executive producer has spoken, so we gotta transition.
Exactly. We got to transition. Shout out to Ron Charles. Also, he says, can we talk football first? Because I know y'all got a lot of USA stuff. Yes, we definitely do. So I'm gonna go to your comment first. Lamar ranked number 2 on the NFL top 100 list. Lamar deserves to be top QB. No, we come on, we know who the top QB is, and y'all see the Ravens hat in the back, so you know I would pick Lamar any day, all day. But we gotta keep it official. Call a spade a spade. We know who the number one quarterback is, the number one player in football, and that is Patrick Mahomes, my homeboy, whatever you call him, the multiple Super Bowl champion, the multiple MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and all that good stuff. Lamar Jackson, I'm listen. I'd accept. I love that. I love to see that they got Lamar Jackson ranked second, but he's not ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Even with him winning his second MVP last season, Patrick Mahomes is and will be the guy until further notice.
Are we far enough into the show where I could curse? No, never mind. That's fine. I won't curse. Uh, Hell no, he should not be ranked number 2. He is not the top quarterback. We know who that is. It's number 15 in red and white. And he's not the second best player in the NFL. I thought the list was completely skewed by having Tyreek and Lamar 1 and 2. They're two of the most dynamic guys in the league. They're two of the most explosive guys in the league. But there's no way you telling me that if you starting a franchise right now, if any of you guys logged into Madden and did an ultimate draft where you could pick whoever you wanted, Tyreek and Lamar would not be your 1 and 2 picks. So I don't know why we're ranking them that high in real life as well. Lamar is a great player, multiple time MVP, but he still got a lot to prove before I would put him number 2 on any top 100 list in the NFL.
Um, we just noted. I mean, we got to keep it official. Patrick Mahomes is the guy. He's the best quarterback in football. Now, if the list is Patrick Mahomes 1 and Lamar 2, then I'm okay with that. You know what? I'll let it rock because I do understand the importance that a lot of people put on the quarterback position. So if you have it like that, if you have Patrick Mahomes 1 and Lamar Jackson number 2, I'm okay with that because again, I do understand there's a lot more put on the quarterback position than every other position. So I will give you that. Um Tyreek Hill, he may still be the best wide receiver in football. Um but there's probably a couple of guys I would put ahead of him on the list as well. But I mean, we argue about this list every year, Eric. When the list comes out, because somebody got the short end. You know what I mean? Like, so what are you gonna do?
I just think that that it is completely disrespectful to Patrick Mahomes. We know Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the league right now. So the fact that you rank multiple guys, Mahomes wasn't even number 3 on the list.
So that's the problem. 'Cause I think
I
that's
mean,
disrespect.
right? Like again, if we rank, even if you don't want to put Mahomes number 1 overall, I get that. You might have your preference on who number 1 overall is,
Mhm.
but you can't tell me there's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
No.
So if we're doing that again, you can't rank any quarterback ahead of Patrick Mahomes. He should be the number 1 quarterback, if not number 1 on the list.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. No, there's no debating. You and I have spoke about this many a times. You know, it, it's difficult. I mean, because again, you still got some non-believers, Eric, out there. Even though as much many times that we done spoke about this, you still got some non-believers. But if a quarterback who is currently playing, and we speak about him as being on the Mount Rushmore right now, then you cannot have anybody ranked ahead of that man. I'm sorry, because I don't think there's anybody playing right now other than Patrick Mahomes that we have on the Mount Rushmore.
No, I mean it's Aaron Rodgers would be the closest to the Mount Rushmore. We talked about it, if not last week, the week before, when someone asked a question about what does this season mean for Rodgers' legacy.
Mhm.
But again, it's ridiculous that any quarterback will be ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes. There is no quarterback. If your team needed to win a game today, and we said you could pick any quarterback currently in the NFL, you would not take any other quarterback over Patrick Mahomes. He would be your number 1
No,
choice.
no,
So
no.
again, how do you rank Lamar above Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, and again, the only thing I could say is they're basing this solely off of him coming off of winning his second MVP. But I mean,
Cool,
even with that, the man just won the Super Bowl.
cool,
So you
right?
were like, what are we saying here? You know what I mean?
Mahomes
But
is coming off back-to-back Super Bowls.
yeah, so it's tough because again, I don't know, the guys that in the media that vote on these things, and whoever's part of the NFL that votes on these lists. This time you got it wrong. Like this, I'm sorry, but there cannot be an NFL ranking list, and Patrick Mahomes is not the number 1 QB. Even like you said, Eric, even if he wasn't the number 1 player, because like there was a couple of years where what's my man from the Rams that just retired, Eric?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, where okay, if you want to say, if you say Aaron Donald is the best player in the NFL, I'm okay with that. So I get that, but you can't have the QB list, and Patrick Mahomes is not number 1, respectfully, because again, you guys know Lamar Jackson is my guy. You know what I'm saying? So, but you got to give Patrick Mahomes his flowers. He
Yeah,
is the number
and
1.
I don't, like I said, I don't agree with Tyreek as number 1. I think Tyreek's probably one of the most dynamic players, but in terms of just a receiver, I don't think he's number 1. I don't think he's better than Justin Jefferson.
Well, listen, we gonna see this season. He got to show and
Mhm.
prove now. He got that ranking. Let me switch things up. I'm gonna go to Kyrie Thompson. Expectations for 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You see, I got the Jets hat on today. I'm trying to support. As I get older, I'm trying to support the New York, the conglomerate here in New York. I listen. I don't honestly. I don't have expectations right now for Aaron Rodgers. I just would like to see him healthy first. I think that's the first and foremost. We cannot go another season where the first play of the game, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt
Mhm.
and it's done for the season. I think the most important thing with Aaron Rodgers is he needs to stay healthy. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and if you're telling me he's going to be healthy throughout the season, then my expectations for this Jets team, I think they can go on a deep playoff run if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. But again, that's a big concern because you're talking about missing the entire season. So and again, you see the age. So to come back from that kind of injury at that age, I have to see it first.
Expectations aside from health, as you mentioned, I think they're a playoff team. I expect Aaron Rodgers to throw for probably about 4,200 yards because they got some weapons. They got Mike Williams, they got Garrett Wilson. We
Mhm.
saw how good Brees Hall is, and they upgraded the O line a little bit. So I expect them to have a good year. I think overall for this team, the division is tough. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this defense to be as good as they've been the last 2 years. If their defense is as good, then I think Aaron Rodgers potentially could take this team on a playoff run. I still think that the Chiefs are better than them. I think the Bengals are better than them. I think the Ravens are better than them. Within their division, I think they're kind of neck and neck with Buffalo and Miami. So winning the division is a possibility for them. Being a top 4 seed in the AFC and probably getting 1, maybe even 2 playoff games is a possibility. I think once we talk about getting beyond the AFC Championship game is where it gets tough. Because as I mentioned, I know 3 teams off the top of my head, Pauls, that are better than the Jets, that I would pick against the Jets. So expectations, pretty solid statistical season for Rodgers. I think 10 wins is realistic because, again, the division is competitive. 10, maybe 11 wins. A playoff win, maybe 2 playoff wins. Anything beyond that, I think, would be way above expectations. And I think New York Jet fans would be excited if Rodgers got them more than 1 playoff win. If he could get them to the second round of playoffs, I think they would be really happy with the performance. If he gets them beyond that to like an AFC Championship game, I mean, then, New York Jet fans would be crowning him because he is the best quarterback that the franchise has had since, Joe Namath, really. Brett Favre wasn't great then. Brett Favre was at the end of his career. Vinny Testaverde got him to an AFC Championship game, but Vinny Testaverde will never be talked about as one of the great quarterbacks of all time. So Aaron Rodgers realistically is in conversation to be the greatest Jet quarterback ever if he just has a typical Aaron Rodgers season.
Sure, and I know this is a stretch, but if they win the Super Bowl, you might have to say he is.
Oh, if they win the Super Bowl, if they win the Super Bowl, that's it. They're gonna retire his number the day of the parade. That'll be it.
Exactly. Let me go to Ron Ross question. Michael Penix, 9 for 16, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Look pretty good. But again, it's preseason. We don't judge nothing about preseason. We don't get up in the morning, watch a preseason game and say, all right, that's him or that's not him. We got to see that in the regular season when you're playing against the first teamers. But I did like what I saw from him.
I like Michael Penix coming out of the draft. I really wish he would have landed with the Vikings because with the speed they have at receiver, I thought it would have really been able to utilize his talent to throw the ball down the field. But this is going to be one of the quarterback situations we pay attention to because Kirk Cousins is coming off a bad injury. And at his age, it's very possible that Kirk Cousins struggles and Atlanta may go with Michael Penix. And they got weapons as well. We know they've spent a lot of draft capital on Bijan, on Drake London, on Kyle Pitts. So there's some young weapons there for Michael Penix as well. And I think Michael Penix is going to be okay in the NFL. I agree with Trip. I'm not making too much out of a preseason situation, but I would not be surprised if you see him play a little bit this year because Kirk Cousins either struggles or that injury just never allows Kirk Cousins to be himself. And Michael Penix might come in and have a couple games where we may say, all right, the Falcons messed it up by giving Kirk Cousins that money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that contract, and if he comes in and he can't, reciprocate what he was doing in Minnesota, but again, you do have this young kid who, if we're basing off, this is obviously a small, you know what I'm saying, but if we're basing off of that, he can maybe hold down the fort. They do have some really good young receivers. They got Drake London out there. They got Bijan. I forget the tight end's name, but they got
Kyle Pitts.
There you go, Kyle Pitts, who's pretty good as well. But again, we got to wait and see, man. That's the one thing about preseason. It's great as a fan because you get football season started. We get to watch the games, but you really can't say who's going to do what based off of the preseason. Except I will say one time. And that was with my main man, Victor Cruz, because that's when we found out about who Victor Cruz was. And he wound up being that guy for the Giants for a couple of seasons. But other than that, you're playing against second and third team guys, a lot of guys that might not even make the team at the end of preseason. So, I want to wait and see, but I do like to start from that young man.
I do too. And I think Michael Penix, sometimes we put too much on guys staying longer at college. But for a lot of guys, and I think this includes Michael Penix, that's the perfect thing they need. It gives you a level of maturity coming into the NFL where you had those years to develop in college. You got to see all these different types of defenses. And now you come into the NFL a lot more comfortable with things that are going to come your way. I think he's safe for the time being. I never said he wasn't safe. I said I think the Falcons could regret giving him that money if Michael Penix shows that he's more than capable of starting for this team. Because Kirk Cousins, let's be realistic. What has Kirk done in the league to make you go crazy for him? What, he's got 2 career playoff wins? He's
He
got
ain't
2
done nothing
career
to
play.
impress me.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's got 2 career playoff wins. He's never been to a conference championship game. I mean, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, a lot of these guys live in the same neighborhood. It looks great during the regular season, but they don't really do much to get you over that hump come playoff time. So there is the possibility that Michael Penix can come in and play well, and the city of Atlanta will rally behind Michael Penix and feel like we don't need Kirk Cousins. We got this young guy who we actually like a lot more, who has way more upside.
Now the only problem to that is when they feel that way, then we got to go back to Will's comment that 150 guaranteed.
I mean, he's safe from the standpoint he's gonna get his money, but that don't mean he's safe from the standpoint of that he can't be benched. Because again,
no, he can.
remember,
Anybody can get benched.
Right, because remember, this coaching staff with Raheem Morris, who's the head coach now, and this general manager were the ones who made the pick for Michael Penix. If they felt so crazy in love about Kirk Cousins, they don't draft a quarterback that high. They drafted him because they feel like this kid has potential. And this is, I don't want to call it similar to, because I don't want to compare these 2 quarterbacks, but it is similar to when Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were going through their issue and they drafted Jordan Love. The difference was Aaron Rodgers was a proven commodity. He was a guy who had won you a Super Bowl. He was a multiple-time MVP and had got you to some conference championship games. Kirk Cousins never done that. So if Raheem Morris wakes up one day and says, you know what, I like the possibility of Michael Penix leading us, it could happen, and Atlanta just got to bite the bullet on that contract.
Yeah, which is crazy because will expectations hurt Caleb? Say hand on Caleb. Expectations are a killer. Here's my thing, right? If Caleb Williams was going into a situation like Bryce Young went into a situation last year in Carolina, then it's just the ish gonna hit the fan early. But when you going into a situation where you have DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, they got a couple of good tight ends who can get touchdowns in the end zone. They just added DeAndre Swift. They still have Khalil Herbert backing him up at the running back position. That is a high powered offense. So even with the expectations, I mean it's kind of hard to go wrong when you got 2 of the upper echelon players at wide receiver, and you got a touchdown machine and Komet at the tight end position, plus 2 really good running backs. DeAndre Swift, finally able to stay healthy, coming off his best season this past year with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's hard. If you mess that up, then you wasn't supposed to be the number 1 overall pick if you go in and mess this up.
What Saban said during that Hard Knocks episode is true. The expectations become a killer for a young quarterback because the franchise, the coaching staff, the organization as a whole, and the city put unrealistic expectations on a young guy right away. And they expect him to be like Super Bowl ready right away, as opposed to understanding that realistically, there's still going to be a progression and it should take him some time, right? Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback right now. He's been the best quarterback for like the last 5 years. But sometimes people forget Patrick Mahomes sat his whole first year. His second year, they lose in the playoffs to New England. Then his third year, they win the Super Bowl, right? That's the natural progression that by year 3, you should be ready.
Yeah.
I don't
he
think
had Tyreek Hill.
He had Tyreek Hill. He had Travis Kelce. Let's not forget in the beginning, they had, what's the running back that was with Cleveland? I can't think of his name
now. Nick Chubb or the
no. That was the backup with the locks. I can't think of his name now. Oh, Kareem Hunt. They had Kareem Hunt. Yeah. They had Sammy Watkins. They had a lot of good players. But my point is, I don't think the expectations will hurt Caleb Williams because realistically, we talked about the Jets quarterback history. The Bears quarterback history is far worse. So Caleb isn't going up against this storied like quarterback history.
Yeah.
He just has to be, have his moments and be efficient and be solid, and people will fall in love with him. The greatest quarterback, there hasn't been a great quarterback in Chicago in over 50 years.
I'm about to say, I don't know. Was it Bradshaw? No, Bradshaw was with the.
You
Who's their
know, we
quarterback?
talk Jim McMahon won in '86. They ain't, you know, we talking Jay Cutler like the last 20 years was probably the best quarterback on the team,
Yeah,
right?
so the expectations are pretty low.
Rex Grossman took the Bears to the Super Bowl one year. Like they ain't had great quarterback play there. So
Yeah,
as long as he's is gives you some moments and shows you progression, you'll be fine with it. But I also like the point you made, Trip, because I can't remember a time that an organization invested this much in their young quarterback. The Bears have really gone all in on saying, not only is Caleb our guy, we're going to give you weapons right away. They got DJ Moore last year and they gave him a new contract. They go get Keenan Allen. They draft Rome Odunze, right? You got Cole Kmet. You go get DeAndre Swift to go with Khalil Herbert. Like they have gone all in on saying, we are going to maximize this guy's potential right away. We're going to give you as many weapons as possible so that all we have to worry about doing now is just developing you as a quarterback and not have to worry about, well, do you have a third down target? Because you do. You got multiple, right? You got Keenan Allen. You got Cole Kmet. Do you have a deep threat? Yes. You got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, who was a deep threat in college. Do you got a running game? Yes, we got two good running backs. So now it's all about let's just get the O-line and let's develop this young man. And I really do think year one, we're going to see flashes. I think year two, they're going to be a playoff team. I talked about this on Friday with Will because I think this year they're going to be really good in the second half of the season. I think when he gets fully acclimated with this playbook and gets comfortable with guys, I promise you, I think in the second half of this year, you're going to see moments where you're going to be like, yo, Caleb Williams is the future of the NFL. Next year, they're going to be a really good team. And I think by year three, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I don't think the expectations are too high. You said our playoff expectations too high? For this season, yes. Because I think early on, he's going to have his traditional rookie struggles. But I think as the season goes on, the second half of the season, I promise you guys, they're going to be conversations we're going to have. We're going to say, Caleb Williams is a really, really good quarterback, and he might be the future of the quarterback position.
Let me ask you this, Eric. Is Caleb Williams' rookie season going to be comparable to what we just saw from CJ Stroud?
So yes, but not statistically. I think statistically what CJ Stroud did is a 1-of-1. Like he had gone, I think, like 6 or 7 weeks before he even threw his first interception. Yeah. He was really, really good. But I think in terms of wow factor, there's going to be some throws that Caleb Williams makes that we're going to be like, man, we ain't really seen anything like this outside of like the Mahomes and the Rodgers of the world. His ability, like the throw he made the other day in the preseason game where he's rolling right and on a dime, he hits Cole Kmet on the sideline. You know, like some of the throws he makes, you're going to be like, wow. But what comes with that sometimes is also going to be the arrogance of like, since I can make every throw, there's going to be a couple bad ones. There's going to be a couple interceptions that he would have got away with in college that you can't get away with it at this level. So I think overall, yes, we will compare it to the CJ Stroud season. I think statistically, that's tough to touch because CJ Stroud, like I said, went so many weeks without even throwing an interception. And by the end of the year, I think CJ Stroud only threw like 6 or 7 interceptions, which is almost unheard of for a rookie quarterback. Caleb Williams will probably throw more because there's gonna be more put on him to throw the ball. The Bears, again, they don't have a storied history of a quarterback. Now that they got one, they're gonna want to throw the ball. They're gonna want to air it out with some teams. And he's gonna make some mistakes early on. But I think I said to Will Gordon, by week 6, I think that's the point where we're gonna see Caleb Williams start to take off. The first 6 weeks of the season, we're gonna see some rookie mistakes. By then, I think once he gets fully acclimated with the speed of the game, with the playbook, with his receivers, because again, you got a rookie receiver you're integrating in, and you got a new receiver and a new running back, along with the O-line that's all got to get integrated in. Those things take a couple weeks. Once he gets that all down pat, sky's the limit for the kid.
He's going to be fortunate, though, Eric, because he does have those security blankets.
He got so many weapons.
Keenan Allen. Oh, my goodness. Especially coming off the last 2 years. He's been having the same thing with DJ out there. Caleb should have some fun this season.
Keep in mind, DJ Moore last year had a phenomenal year, caught over 90 passes. They really had no second target. So if you're defending the Bears, and I'm interested to see this because my Colts play the Bears week 3. I don't know who you try to take away in that offense because if you double DJ Moore, which is reasonable, Keenan Allen is going to kill one-on-one coverage. Yeah. Right. Cole Kmet is a tough matchup at tight end because you can split him out wide. And then you got that running game to mix. They got a lot of weapons, bro. A lot of weapons for a very young team.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to Al. Let me go to Al. Al Nash. Shout out to Al Nash. Uh, which which rookie QB impressed most in their preseason debut? For me, I would probably go with JJ McCarthy. I thought he played very well for Minnesota. Um, again, which is crazy because now we have a second rookie quarterback coming in who's also going into a situation where he has two beastly wide receivers and a beastly running back, which is kind of I think we've seen a season where two rookie quarterbacks got drafted to teams that both have two top receivers in an A1 running game. But yeah, I got to go with JJ McCarthy. For me, it's him. I like what I saw from him.
Um, I thought JJ was good. I thought Michael Penix was great. And what I loved about Michael Penix was that he was efficient. He didn't force the ball down the field. Like I said, even though that is a major skill set of his. But the kid Milton from the Patriots, the Tennessee quarterback, looked really, really good.
Mm.
And that's going to be one of those situations to pay attention to. People already on social media comparing it to like the Brock Purdy, Trey Lance situation because the Patriots drafted Drake May. And all reports coming out of New England is that Milton has outplayed Drake May in every scrimmage and every practice. And it's a new head coach there. Milton to me has looked very, very good and possesses, again, that NFL skill set, the big arm to make all the throws down the field, but also the mobility. Drake May is a little erratic right now. So to me, Milton has been impressive. I'll make it a tie. I'll say Milton and I'll say Michael Penix. So far, they've been the most impressive to me. Caleb Williams, I like Caleb Williams, but he didn't play much. So I'm going to kind of excuse him from this conversation.
Gotcha. All right. Let me go to shout out to Kevin Carter. Which AFC North QB is under the most pressure? I I want I'm gonna say it's a tie between Lamar and Joe Burrow because I think we have a situation where both of these guys need to get over the hump and not just get to a Super Bowl but win a Super Bowl. Obviously, Lamar coming off his second MVP season. Um, Joe Burrow out, dealing with the injury last season, coming back, in where Cincinnati was. But again, when you're talking about Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, you're probably 2 and 3 in the rankings. Realistically, where they should be. You could put them in whatever order you prefer, either 2 or 3. So I would say it's pretty even between the two of those guys. I think they both need to get over the hump. You cannot let Patrick Mahomes get another Super Bowl or get to another Super Bowl, and you guys are twiddling your thumbs in the offseason again.
I think when I initially saw the question, I thought the pressure would be on Lamar. If you're a multiple time MVP, the conversation shifts now to winning a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he hasn't been to a Super Bowl yet just adds more pressure. So that's why I wanted to go there. But I'm going to say realistically, the most pressure has got to be Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson gets that mega contract a couple years ago. They struggle, obviously, his first year there. Then it was expectations last year. He gets hurt. And Joe Flacco leads them to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, tough.
And now they let Joe Flacco walk, right? They let Flacco walk, rightfully so, because Flacco, you didn't want to create that controversy of like, well, if Flacco's still there, can Deshaun really lead this team? Because we saw what Flacco did last year. But now it's on Deshaun. You got to lead this team and you got to have some sort of success to justify, what was it, $250 million guaranteed money. We shout out to Will Gordon again. He said earlier, Kirk Cousins is safe. Is Deshaun Watson safe? Because he got $250 million guaranteed. Is he
His
safe?
Bank account is safe. That's about it.
Yeah. So I think the pressure has got to be on Deshaun. And realistically, they are the third best team in this division because I think the Ravens and the Bengals are better than the Browns. So Deshaun has to be a superstar this year to elevate this Browns team. Because if they miss the playoffs this year, Trip, you know what the conversation gonna be like. Damn, Joe did it last
Yeah,
year, and Joe did it without Nick Chubb.
without yeah,
So
that's
Deshaun, what's your excuse? To me, it's Deshaun Watson.
get it together, brother. You got a lot to prove. Tyson, we gonna talk about the Anthony Edwards issue, and that was with Noah Lyles, the gold medalist. But we're gonna get to that when we get back into the Olympics. Got a couple of more NFL questions, and then we're gonna start talking back basketball again. All right, let's see. Kevin Carter, how concerning is Reddick news for Jets? Reddick requests a trade amid contract holdout. I mean, one of the better defensive players in football. You never want to go through this kind of issue to start the season off. But I mean, this was bound to happen when you traded for him. You knew the contract was going to be up, and you was going to have to renew that contract. You should have got it done already. And if you didn't think you could have got it done, then you shouldn't have made that trade because you gave up what you gave up to bring him over there, and now you have a situation where you may have to now go and trade him, and you may not get what you think you're going to get because knowing that he wants to leave, that brings that trade value down. So I hope for the Jets' sake they get it together. Because I do want to see what the Jets can do with the healthy Aaron Rodgers, but you need all of these pieces working together in order for them to max out at their potential.
To me, it's very concerning because I didn't think this was a trade they needed to make anyway. They had a pretty good defense and they had some young guys that were starting to ascend to that next level. Obviously, Quentin Williams is a star, but the kid McDonald that they drafted from USC 2 years ago was starting to develop. So they had some guys there. They didn't have to make this move. But now, as you mentioned, this cloud kind of hangs over your team now because you're not going to get the value back. Whatever team trades for Hassan Reddick knows they got to give him a new contract. So they're going to lowball you and probably give you like a fifth round pick and something minor. And if
Mhm.
you're the Jets, I think because you're so close to the start of the season, if you're the Jets, you have to take the first offer you get. You got to get them out the building. You
Yeah.
can't allow this to linger and then turn into where the media consistently asks, what's going on with Hassan? What's going on with Hassan? If you're the
Yes.
Jets, you want to eliminate distractions. You're gonna have to make the trade quick. You're gonna have to move on from them. They should have never made the trade in the first place, I thought. But now you gotta, cut your losses and move on from them.
Yeah. Let me go to this last question. I think this is the last NFL question, if I'm not mistaken. Is Burrow Mahomes' only rival? Burrow's on Mahomes. Bring out the best in me. First of all, Mahomes ain't got no rivals. That's number one. Okay, he ain't got none. Only person he's rivaling is no longer in the NFL, and that's for GOAT
It's-
status. Other than
yeah.
that, he ain't got no rivals.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, Mahomes is battling ghosts of football, I should say. The guys that he's battling are living, the Montanas and the Bradys of the world, but they're not in the NFL. But for Burrow, this is a legitimate statement because if you're Joe Burrow, you might be the only guy that's beaten Mahomes twice in Arrowhead. You did it in the regular season. You did it in a playoff game. In that third matchup in the AFC Championship game, you went toe to toe and it took a last second field goal to beat you. So if you're Burrow, I completely understand why you feel that way because again, no other quarterback has challenged you in that way. Let's not forget Joe Burrow went into Buffalo and beat up on Josh Allen and them. There's that iconic clip of Joe Burrow throwing slow motion in the snow when they went up there and they dropped damn near 40 piece on him. So for Joe Burrow, yes, he's only chasing Mahomes. But for Mahomes, there's no equal to Mahomes at this point.
See, you know what happens? The reason why they're not gonna look at it really like you're gonna try to create narratives. Obviously, the media's gonna try to create narratives, but the reason why it's not gonna be a real rivalry is because Joe Burrow hasn't won the Super Bowl. So, like, if he had beat Mahomes and then went on and they won the Super Bowl that year, he made it to the Super Bowl. Then yes, you can call it a rivalry. But if not, it's like when you in the league and you cross somebody up, hit them with the hezzy or something, they fall, but then you miss the shot. It's like, oh man, all that don't even matter now. You still missed the shot, So he needs to win as well. He needs
I
to
agree.
get past,
I
what I
agree.
mean, and make it a real rivalry. He has to win.
I agree. I mean, realistically, it's crazy to say this. The only two guys that have beaten Mahomes in the playoffs are Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. Nobody else has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And like you said, when Brady did it, Brady won the Super Bowl both times. When Burrow did it, he lost to the Rams. If Burrow at least had that one chip to compare, then we could say, yeah, you know what, it's a legit rivalry. But right now, Mahomes is up 3-0. So
Yeah.
Burrow is playing catch up. But I'm sure at some point, maybe not tonight, we're going to get to this. I think very highly of this Cincinnati team this year, Trip. But I'll save that for a later conversation.
They better stop playing and get Jamal's contract together. I'm gonna tell you that much right now.
I when we talk tickets, Trip, and we talk futures, I'm very high on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll just say that.
All right. Let me go to listen. We can get back to this basketball now. Shout out to DeShandre Washington. He says, shout out to LeBron James for winning the MVP. It's been an intense debate on if he should have won it, but he played hard and deserved it. Um, yeah, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Eric, I believe the word you used was consistent. LeBron was consistent throughout this Olympic run, even going back to the exhibition games, and then on to the pool play, and then into the medal games. He was the picture of consistency. And then obviously you had the the other members of this big three, KD and Steph, who did what they needed to do during those crucial moments. You had Embiid, who played well as he started to get his act together. Ant-Man did well. Devin Booker probably is the unsung hero of Team USA because he did all of the little things. But LeBron James was the MVP.
It's tough, man, because I think that when we look back at these Olympics, we will remember the Steph moments, and rightfully so. Again, 17 made threes in the two medal games, right?
Mhm.
So I think that this should always be categorized as like, the Steph Olympics. But in terms of consistency, and this is where the MVPs voted on, and that's why I say it's a tough debate because it's not like the NBA finals where we're only voting on the finals. If we were only voting on the medal games, it's
Yeah.
Steph. Steph wins the MVP easily. But the MVP is constructed of the tournament as a whole. And in that case, I don't know how you don't give it to Braun because again, Braun was so consistent all the way through. And I think Braun was deserving of it. And I think Steph was amazing. As I said, these are the Steph Curry Olympics. And I even said as much to Will Gordon when I sent him a message was it yes or 2 nights ago on Saturday when I said Steph basically outshined Braun in his moment because this was supposed to be Braun's farewell tour as far as international play, and Steph
Mm.
outshined him because of the performance he had in those two games.
Yeah.
But Braun was the most consistent, and Braun was deserving of that MVP.
Absolutely. Let me go to Kyrie Thompson. USA men win gold medal with win over France and tough game with Serbia. Now they're done. Where do you rank this team? I got Dream Team, Redeem Team, 2012 team, and then 2024. Um, I gotta still sit back. But if I'm ranking this, I'm still obviously. I mean, I feel like we can't even count the dream team in this thing because it's not even fair.
It's fair. It's
You
fair.
know what I mean? But I still have Dream Team one. I would have the Redeem Team second. But I think I'm also putting them second because they actually had something to play for because they were coming off of losing that Olympics, the story of them, to bounce back. Larry Brown not wanting to play the young guys, he not trying to give LeBron, Melo, and Wade minutes in that Olympics that they lost. And then them coming back. So I gotta put the Redeem Team second. I think I go with 2024. The Avengers third. Because again, the talent gets tougher and tougher every Olympics, and they pretty much, as surprising as it may be, up until the silver and the gold, in those last two games, they dominated through the Olympics. You know what I mean? So I would go 2024 third, And again, Redeem Team 2 and Dream Team 1.
Dream Team is going to be first and always going to be first. They had to restore the order of not only USA basketball, but basketball in general, and remind the world why we are the only superpower when it comes to this sport. So the Dream Team is number one. The Redeem Team got to be number two, because the Redeem Team is like the Dark Knight Rises. We had a lot of bad Batman movies before that one, right? But the Dark Knight Rises is the one that reminds you, like, oh, this why Batman, and then the Joker performance.
Yeah.
But the Redeem Team is that. The Redeem Team, again, had to restore the order again. Like, y'all done messed it up for us, and now we got to remind the people again why they just really can't mess with us on this level. So then the third spot goes to 2024 over 2012. No disrespect to 2012, but 2024, as I mentioned, when we look back on it historically, and we look at specifically that Serbia game, Braun having a triple-double, Curry having the performance he had, and then Embiid, his fourth quarter against the Joker, right? I just referenced the Joker in the Dark Knight. The Joker, who arguably is the best player in the league right now, had us on the ropes. The Joker was out there, you know what I'm saying, with him and only one other true NBA guy was beating us and had us down. And then the 24 team had to wake up, and Embiid have his moments, KD have his moments, Steph shooting the lights out in the first half, Braun having big moments in that fourth quarter. This is why the 2024 team will be the third team, because, again, this is another reminder to the world that we are the dominant power when it comes to basketball. There are a lot of great players all over the world. We know Greece got a great player. We know Serbia got a great player. We know Latvia got a great player. But Team USA is always going to be Team USA. So 2024 is third for me.
Oh. Imani, don't worry. We got this. Me and Eric are the real Avengers. Okay?
Imani, hold on, Imani. You saw what Steph did. You saw what Steph did when he hit the shot, and you saw what Kobe did on the Redeem Team. Calm down. We got it. Come on.
Exactly. All right, let me go to this next question. Where we at? Okay, here we go. Kevin Carter, Mike Greenberg says Steph Curry's dagger versus France is the most memorable shot in basketball history. Where does it rank? It's definitely not the most memorable shot in basketball history. I don't even think it's going to be the most memorable shot in Olympic history, because I still got Vince Carter's dunk over that 7-footer as the number one Olympic play. But I don't know. I mean, it was an incredible shot, though. I mean, over two defenders. I mean, Steph was dancing all over them. So it's definitely up there in the rankings. But I think it's more so just because it's fresh in our minds right now. But I think, when we talk about Olympic plays, that Vince Carter dunk gets talked about more than anything.
It's going to be the most memorable shot in international play. That moment, because at that point I think USA is up 6 points, so the game is still kind of in a balance, right? The game is still close. Actually, no, they were up 3. If he misses the shot, they still got to get a great defensive stand. But Kyrie Irving's Game 7 shot is the most memorable shot in basketball history. The Cleveland Cavaliers were down 3-1.
Yeah,
the Cleveland Cavaliers were on the road against a 73-win team, trying to complete the biggest comeback in NBA history. And since you said basketball history, that is basketball history. The Kyrie shot 30 years from now will still be discussed as, like, honestly, you had to have the biggest you-know-what to take that shot. Because Kyrie, it's LeBron's team, right? Yeah. And Kyrie says, no, I got it. And then hits the shot that leads to, against the biggest moment, coming back from 3-1. So Steph's shot is amazing. But if Steph misses the shot, Team USA can still win the game. Yeah. I think if Kyrie misses the shot against Cleveland, Cleveland doesn't win that finals. So to me, that is the most memorable shot in basketball history. Curry's shot will probably be the most memorable in international play.
All right, let me go to Scoop Hoop. Shout out to Scoop Hoop, man. What's good, Scoop Hoop? Player who will have the biggest jump this season after the Olympics. I say Tatum and Ant-Man. I agree with that. Because I think for Tatum, I think he has to come back and really establish himself because of all the, I don't even want to say controversy because it's stupid to say this is a controversy, him not getting minutes on a team where you have damn near everybody on the roster could possibly be a future Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say, but I do think that because of everything that went down, him not getting the minutes and how people talked about it, I think he does come back. And then obviously during the next Olympics, he is going to be the guy in the next Olympics in 4 years. Tatum will be the guy. But and then Anthony Edwards as well. I mean, he was already on. He was already ascending, but I think just the playoff run that they had, how great he was in the playoffs, coming into the Olympics, doing what showing he really showed out on the on the biggest stage. So I think those two will be the guys who really go back in and take that next step.
It's crazy because when Amani and Pooh was calling me a Tatum hater, I did say that I thought you remember that, Trip. I remember. But shout out to them though. But I said at that point, I thought Tatum had another level to take his game to because he could become more efficient. So I expect that I guess that progression in his game to still happen. Ant-Man will probably have the biggest jump because he was around this type of winning and this type of atmosphere to take that
Mm.
next level and kind of understand what it takes to win it all because he was just in the Western Conference Finals. And, when you've never seen it, it's kind of tough to know how to lead a team that way. So I think Ant-Man probably has the biggest jump. I also think Embiid will have a big jump from this because we've talked so long about Embiid taking that next step. And now that Embiid has actually won something of significance,
Mhm.
I think he will go back and understand what it takes to win. And he'll realize that, man, some of the things I do in the regular season are great, but I need to be this type of player come playoff time when my team needs me. And so I think Ant-Man, for me, I would say Ant-Man and Embiid will have the biggest jump. And then if I just want to really be mean, I don't want to use the word I really want to use. If I just want to be mean about it, I would say Tyrese Halliburton because he got to intern for the whole summer. And he should have a great jump next year as well, since he just got to sit back and watch all these great players.
Let me go to Lene. Shout out to Lene Chanel Jones. She says this was the Steph Curry Olympics. Inside Braun had to not like it, but like it. LOL. Curry took his moment. Um, I mean, he balled out the last two games. So I mean, what can I say, man? Steph is being Steph.
I
Um,
Nah, shout out to Lene. Shout out to Amani. I was laughing because I saw her comment there as well. Amani, I always appreciate you though. You know that. But I said that. I think this is always going to be remembered as the Steph Curry Olympics. As I highlighted earlier, the text message between Will Gordon and myself, he stole the moment from Braun. And I think we'll always look back and say this was, Steph's shining moment on the international stage. And it's crazy because this is Steph's first Olympics at that. Right? Like a lot of people are going to make the case about LeBron and multiple gold medals, but Steph in his first Olympics, in his first gold medal rounds, 17 3-pointers between two games, and the highlight moments you see Melo going crazy on the sideline, Melo, Scottie Pippen, and Cayenne, like all these guys going crazy on the sideline. We're always going to remember it as the Steph Curry Olympics.
Yeah. Was Steph Curry the biggest factor in winning gold? If you're just counting the last two games, then yes. But if you're counting the totality of the Olympic Games, then I think it was the combination of a couple of things, and I think the combination of the big three, KD, Steph, and LeBron, would be the biggest factor.
If we got to say one factor, yes, I would say it's Steph. And I agree with what you said, Trip, because it did take a team to win this all. There were moments, as we highlighted in the semifinal game, where Embiid had the 7-0 personal run, and then he had the block and he drew the offensive foul on Joker, right? But you also need the 6-point possession between KD and Booker. You needed other things. So I think Steph stands out the most. So therefore, Steph will be looked at as the biggest factor. But ultimately, when you look at the team, it really did take a team effort to win, because as hot as Steph was in the first half of the Serbia game, Steph wasn't that much of a factor in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Right. and you needed other guys to step up. And the same thing with the gold medal game. There were moments where Steph was a little quiet, but then Steph goes crazy in that fourth quarter. So you had to have both hand to hand. Steph stands out, but you still needed the other guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see where we're going from here.
I just want to say this while you get the next question. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan, I'm not listening to anything you say because you support Baker Mayfield more than any other quarterback in the NFL. So I can't take your advice on that.
I says Steph is the MVP. Showed up biggest pause in the biggest moments after madness. No, again, Will, and I think Eric, mentioned this earlier. The MVP of the Olympics is not based off of the last two games. It's based off of every game that they played this season. And we literally last week we was up here talking about them how Steph hadn't been playing up to Steph, and we thought he would get back to it. But you can't give Steph the MVP just based off of two games when the voting is based off of every game that they played. And there was a couple of games where Steph didn't make any threes.
Nah, Rod is foul for that comment though. Rod, come on. Trip not hate on the love, man. Come on, y'all. Come on.
First of all, I was more hyped than anybody when Steph hit that shot. Okay, so
Rod said your fist is like this off mic, like.
Oh man! All right, let me go to Imani's comment. Shout out to the executive producer of Real Fans Real Talk, Imani Williams. She says, "Trip and Eric, I ain't a basketball expert, but what Steph Curry did in the last two games was unreal. I mean, taking nothing from Braun, he stole the show and was the reason they won the last two games against Serbia. Kept hitting shots so they wouldn't get blown out, and then in the championship game, what he did and how he took over was crazy." And it turned into the Steph Curry show. We all know Braun, while he happened, Curry did that, but he wanted this to be his moment. He won MVP, and it's but Curry. Let me move this comment because it's blocking everything. But yeah, I mean, listen, offense is always going to steal the show. You know that, and Steph Curry had two really good games in the middle games. You know what I mean? And Steph deserves the praise, man. He definitely does. One, I'm happy for Steph because this is his first Olympics. It might be his only Olympics, and he started off slow and was able to turn up. So I'm very happy for Steph that he was able to get that, and the team USA won the gold. I mean, and I think one thing that we lose is we came into this thing, wondering if Team USA was going to win or how it was going to go. I think we are not even showing enough love to Team USA for winning the gold medal. We just breaking this thing down and who did what and whatnot. So
what I said, Trip, we had to find the drama in it. We could never just take the victory lap. We got to find the drama. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna remind some of you guys, right? Steph was amazing in those two games, but Amani, you said this to me when we were joking about the whole Tatum hate, and you said, "Oh, look back at the episode." I want you to look back at some of the comments because just last week, you guys were really debating on, man, is maybe Braun still the best player in the league? Look how great he looks for Team USA, right? And now, because Steph was so amazing in those two games, y'all forget how great Braun was leading up to those games. And also, I'll say this.
And he was still great in those games.
And he was great in those games because what LeBron did was something that I know myself and a lot of people have asked for a long time, that LeBron take on the Magic Johnson role of being like the facilitator and the point guard. And that's why I don't think Braun deep down was mad that Steph had that moment, because Braun turned into the leader of the team and said, look, I'm going to run point and I'm going to make sure everybody gets involved and everybody gets theirs, right? And then when the moment comes, I'll score and I'll look for my shot, but I'm going to make sure everybody else get their shot. You don't get a triple-double in the Olympics if you're trying to just get only your shot. That comes from trying to get everybody else involved. And I think Braun did a great job of that, and also as a leader, because when other people, not just our supporters in the comment section who were saying, what's wrong with Steph Curry leading up to the semifinal games? Let's not forget. That's why I said, look back, guys. because some of you guys were wondering what's going on with Steph. Steph ain't had a good game yet. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. Braun ain't stopped feeding him the ball just because he had a couple off nights. Braun was still looking for Steph. You look back at the Serbia game, the first play they ran to start the Serbia game was Steph coming off a pin down with Braun hitting him for a shot. They knew who Steph was. They didn't forget. I just, let's not lose sight of the fact Steph was amazing in the last 2 games. What were you guys saying last week when we recorded before Steph's Serbia game? What were you guys saying then? I want to remind you guys of that, because there was a lot of you guys who was even wondering, damn, is Braun still the best player in the league for as great as he looked? Braun was amazing in these Olympics as well. And Braun is deserving of the MVP. Steph,
we started off the show and we gave Steph his flowers when we started off the show.
Yeah, nobody's debating that. I've said a couple of times as well, you know, these are the Steph Olympics because of how we're going to remember these gold medal games. But in terms of consistency, there's nobody on Team USA that was more consistent than LeBron James throughout the tournament. Look back at the box scores. Nobody was more consistent.
Can I add one more thing in there, right? In that game against Serbia, right? Jokic is killing them. But who's taking the task of guarding Jokic in the fourth quarter? LeBron James.
LeBron actually guarded him in the fourth.
Trouble. You know, so you know you can't take away nothing from either one of these guys. They both deserve their flowers. Steph stealing the show. LeBron gets the MVP. I think that's perfect. A perfect ending for this whole thing.
I think it is too. Again, there were many moments throughout these Olympics, and I think it played out the way it was supposed to in terms of the MVP. It's LeBron's MVP. It's Steph Curry's Olympics.
Hoopballer Scoop says, salute out to the best player in the world, Jokic, for leading the Olympics in scoring, assists, and rebounds. He's a special player. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why people got him ranked as the number 1 player in the NBA. Shout out to Jokic, man. They played a great game against Team USA. You know, him and I got to shout out Bogdanovich too, because Bogdanovich was balling out in that game too. So I want to make sure we give him some love as well. But yeah, it's hard to maintain that, even though they had the 16, 17 point lead at one point. It's hard to sustain that when it doesn't matter who we put in the rotation and it's an elite level talent. If y'all got to go to y'all bench, it ain't gonna be the same. You know what I mean? But so shout out to Jokic, man.
Yeah, Joker was phenomenal in these Olympics, and listen, there's a couple plays if you look back at the Serbia game where they had some wide open threes. They didn't hit 1 3-pointer in that fourth quarter. If they hit 1 3-pointer, maybe the outcome is different. And I'm not mad at that. Obviously, I'm rooting Team USA all the way. But the way they played and the way Joker played for his team, Joker like solidified he is the best player in the world when it comes to basketball. For a 7-footer to dominate the game the way he does in all different facets, right? If you double me, I can make the right pass. If you give me single coverage, I can torment this guy. I can bring the ball up the court. I can rebound. I can do anything you want me to do. And then I'm so glad the broadcast, though I'm not a big fan of Wade being on the broadcast, but they highlighted how smart Joker was in trying to find ways to like drain the clock. Because he knew, like you said, Team USA is going to keep coming with more guys. We don't have enough bodies, right, to keep up with them. So I'm going to do little things to try to steal 4 or 5 seconds here, 4 or 5 seconds there, and like try to drain the clock because they're going to keep coming in waves. Joker's phenomenal, man, and he continued to show it, and definitely salute to him. They won the bronze. You know, they were very close to possibly winning the gold, though.
Kevin Carter says no one thought Braun was still the best player in the league based on USA team. Maybe the Nick Wrights, but Curry was the best player in the 2 meaningful games. Salute to Curry. Everybody was saying that. I don't know what, like, were you not watching the news outlets? Everyone was saying that up until the last 2 games of the Olympics. Everyone was saying that. They were talking about is LeBron still the best player because of what he's out here doing? That's number 1, and then 2. See, I don't like the Curry was the best player in the 2 meaningful games because guess what? If they lose before they get to that game, to that the semifinal game, then those games don't mean nothing.
That's not true.
because it's over.
Somewhat. I mean, obviously, if they can't lose once they get in the medal round. They could have
Yes, yeah.
lost. They could have
If they
lost
lose
the
the game, if they lose to, I think it was Sudan who played
yeah.
right?
Yes.
If they lose to Sudan, we're not even having this conversation.
Shout out to
So
Kevin
every game is
Carter.
meaningful.
Shout out to Kevin Carter because I know he's tuned in before and he's been in the comment section. But I will remind you, Kevin, to look back because the statement I made was regarding the people in the comment section, and there were people in our comment section who were talking about Braun's current place in the NBA. Is he the best player? I think it was even Pooh who referenced, like conversation she had with her dad about Braun, best player, not best player. So there were conversations about Braun's performance and how that translates to how he plays in a regular season with the Lakers. So let's not ignore that. That was a legitimate conversation people were having. Now, I stood fast on what I said. LeBron being able to bring the energy for the Olympic and the international games is completely different than the grind that goes with an 82 game season. It's easy for Braun to play that way now when you have 1, 2, sometimes even 3 days off between games. And also, you only got to exert energy for about 25 to 28 minutes, where you're not playing 35 minutes a night the way you would with the Lakers. So people were losing sight of that. And my point was, Braun was playing so well that people were starting to question his ranking amongst all the NBA players.
Let me see who all the scoop. Fellas, them 3 games Curry struggled, didn't they blow them teams out? They didn't need Curry in them 3 games, right? Well, clearly they didn't because they still won.
Right.
But so yeah, I think
They
that
didn't, but
goes
they
without
also,
saying.
but I'm just playing devil's advocate because I'm not trying to pick apart Team USA. I'm happy they won. They also didn't need Joel Embiid in them games either.
They didn't need a lot of guys in them
Right.
games.
I'm just saying, like Joel
So,
Embiid didn't play well in them 3 blowouts either. But guess what? Joel Embiid played well against Serbia when we needed him.
yeah. How can Braun jump from 12 to 1?
Braun wasn't 12.
Yeah, I think it wasn't he 10 this or he was 10
Braun,
this year.
Braun and AD both were ranked in the top 10 before the season because that was one of the major debates we had where I said I didn't. And not only were they ranked, I think even Braun was ranked like number 5 because we had that debate where I was saying how the hell do the Lakers got 2 guys ranked like in the top 8 because I didn't agree with AD being ranked that high. So I don't think Braun was ranked 12 to start the season.
No, he was definitely in the top 10.
Definitely, because the Lakers had 2 guys in the top 10 to start the season. I think Braun was 5 and AD was like 8. Because my big issue was with AD being 8. Braun definitely was not no number 12 to start the season.
Yeah. And somebody could jump from 12 to 1 if you're outplaying all of the elite players. That's where the argument comes in. So and again, he was outplaying everybody on Team USA. That's not like something we just drew up in our imaginations. No, LeBron was carrying the team. Then when the game started, Kevin Durant came back, and then we started to have the 1-2 punch. Then we started getting contributions from Ant-Man. Then Bam had that big game. Then Embiid came on. Then finally Steph Curry sealed the deal. And that's how things went.
Yeah, to start the season, like I said, I know Braun wasn't ranked 12 because I specifically remember I even argued that point that the Lakers had 2 guys ranked in the top 10, which I did not agree with. So I don't now he may be ranked 12, but the start of the season he was not ranked at 12.
After the Olympics, he probably not. They didn't come with the new rankings yet for this season yet.
Yeah,
He might
I
not be.
don't. Like I said, I'll double check and try to see, but I don't think they had him ranked. I don't remember them having him ranked that low to start this season.
Yeah, no, I believe he was 10. I believe him and AD were both in the top 10.
I know for a fact they both was in the top 10 because we had that argument.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about that.
I'm gonna take this quick comment from Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. I know this isn't about Curry or James, but I want to give a shout out to Nick Parisi for playing college football this season for Wagner. I coached that kid since he was 6 years old. Yes, shout out to my youngin Nick Parisi. That's one of the kids that I filmed playing youth football. and he's going to Wagner right now. Shout out to Rocco. You guys saw Rocco on the program a couple of months ago. He's also one of the kids that I've been filming since he was like 8 years old. And then he's QB at Rutgers, and and there's a couple other guys, a couple other kids that I film that are playing college football right now. A couple of them are in the NCAA game, which I thought is pretty cool. So shout out to all of the youngins. All right, let me go back to these questions up here. We still got a lot we gotta get through. We're gonna start running through these questions because we already in overtime. Let me see. All right, let's go to Ron. I know this Steph Curry's day, LOL, but fellas, I've been watching hoops for 30 years, and what Curry did, I'm in awe. It's no one like Curry. It's crazy. Braun fans arguing with everyone. All right, we ain't gonna keep going with the art with the. That's shout out to Ron, but yeah, that's we can keep this thing going all. All right, let's go to this next one about KD. Kevin Durant, coach put him back in the starting lineup. KD was efficient and hit a clutch shot in Serbia game, but the best USA player ever. He is the best
Yeah,
Olympic player ever. He got that, man. I
yeah.
mean, who's
I mean,
who, who's who's better than Kevin Durant? Who's accomplished more than Kevin Durant in Olympic basketball?
yeah, I was going to say that. If best USA player is referencing international play for Team USA, what player would you put above Kevin Durant? That's my rebuttal. If you're going to pose that question, but the best USA player ever, who would you rank above Kevin Durant? I'll leave it at that.
And keep in mind, he's the all-time leader in points and rebounds now.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. What player has played better and accomplished more for Team USA?
Hoop Central, what's going on? Anthony Edwards, after a fast start for most of the tournament, was leading the U.S. in scoring. Then I think the moment got too big for him a little bit, but had good moments overall. Um, I, I mean, I guess that's possible, but I don't think so. I think because Anthony Edwards is one of them ones. So I don't know if the moment got too big for him. I just think other guys that are, I guess, ranked ahead of him just started to turn it on, and that was it. And then again, KD came back. You know what I mean? And then other guys started having individual games. Everybody did their part. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Again, we talked about the Bam game where Bam stepped up and Bam was going off. Joel Embiid started clicking. Steph started turning on the last couple of games. You know what I'm saying? So everybody had their moments. I don't think it was a situation where the moment got too big for him.
I think that like a normal progression that you would see with an NBA team, it also takes place with Team USA. Sometimes you have guys who have great moments early in the playoffs, but then as you get deeper into the playoffs, the veterans and the star players take over. Same thing with Team USA. As the moments got a little bigger, the offensive play calls are going to go to those guys like Steph, KD, Braun. And I also think Kerr kind of tightened up his rotation a little bit in terms of minutes played. He went with guys that he was more comfortable with. So for AD, I mean for Ant-Man, this is a great learning experience because he was a contributor on a gold medal team. And I think he'll not only will he be better this upcoming season, like we said, he's going to be a major factor in 2028 now that he experienced this. Keep in mind, remember when Braun and Carmelo Anthony, when they lost their first time, and then that second time, Kobe was the guy, right? And they were kind of the supporting guys after that. And then I'm sorry, they were supporting guys that year. And then after that, they became kind of the guys. Same thing's going to happen with Ant-Man. This time he's more of a supporting player. Next time he's going to be more of the focal point for a team that's going to go for a gold medal.
Yeah, I want to go back just really quick because for all the people that were in the headlines this past week about Tatum not getting minutes, right? One of the things I mentioned earlier was the team that lost, so that we had to have the redeem team. That team featured LeBron, Melo, and Dwayne Wade, and they weren't getting minutes, and they
Right.
lost. We're in a situation where, all right, Tatum might not get the minutes that you want, but Team USA is winning all these games convincingly, and even the two that were tough, they still got the job done.
Yeah. Facts.
All right, let me go to this next one. We running through these. Curry, 14.8 points, 3.2 rebounds, 50% field goal, 47.8 on threes. I got a question. Curry had 11 points game, one shot well, and then had three bad shooting games, but they were all blowouts. But then in the games that matter, was the top player. I said Curry had to have one good game in those middle three. Then he is MVP. That 3-point game hurt him. I mean, you pretty much answered your own the question right there. Yeah,
Pretty
that's pretty
much.
much what it is. You know, that's why he's not the MVP, but he is the one who we saluting right now.
No,
Okay.
I agree. I agree with that assessment. I think if he
Yeah.
doesn't go through that cold streak there, we're probably looking at it differently. But again,
I.
it's the consistency of the whole tournament.
Mhm.
And I hate that we're doing this too, because this is this is rich people problem. This is winner syndrome. Like, now that we're winning, we got no, it's true. Like, now that we won, now we got to nitpick on any little
Yeah.
thing. Like, we won the gold. The MVP went to Braun. It's cool. It's fine. Steph's legacy doesn't change because Steph was so great in those two games. And
Yeah.
ultimately, none of us are gonna, like, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when we talk about these Olympics, even though Braun won it, we're still gonna start off by talking about what Curry did in that semifinal game and that gold medal game. So it's all
Mhm.
right. It's cool.
Al Nash, is Ja Morant's game made for FIBA? Is Kyrie's USA career over? Kyrie's USA career was over before this Olympics started. Once he didn't get picked, that was it. Career over. And there's no disrespect because I love Kyrie, so it's not but it just it. I mean, at the age he's at now, in another 4 years, I don't see him playing in the Olympics in another 4 years. Now it's just the first part of that is Ja Morant's game made for FIBA. Damn right it is. I want to see. I tell you one thing. I want to see Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards on the court together at the same time, and then we got to put the $1 million bounty up to see who dunks on Wemby first between those two guys, because those two guys are the ones that will be trying to throw it on whoever.
Um, Ja's game, I don't want to say it's made for FIBA, but I think it still works with Team USA because, as you saw with this current team, there was no true point guard on there. So I think Ja would fit perfectly with Team USA and international play. You still need a point guard. The problem with Ja is he's going to have to commit to playing defense. And I know there's comments about Devin Booker that we're going to get to. That's the one thing that Devin Booker did. Devin Booker committed to playing defense and understanding that that's what it takes in international play. So Ja's got to do that. Kyrie, I think his career is over. He's 32. He'll be 36 by the next Olympics. But more importantly, you mentioned Ja. Jalen Brunson is probably going to be on that next team. Anthony Edwards will probably be on that next team. Tyrese Halliburton will probably be on that next team. That's four guards that I just mentioned, Trip, that'll probably be
Yeah.
on that next team. That's where it gets tough to see if Kyrie makes the team because there's at least four younger guards that are probably going to take that spot.
Yep. Shout out to Hoop Central. Did you all see Bronny and Bryce out exploring Paris with they boot things? LOL. Someone joked about Bryce getting some buns. They was holding their girls' hands. It was cute. LOL. Shout out to the young players from the Himalayas. I loved it. I love seeing it on. I mean, listen, man. I'm always in support of the fellas having a nice, PYT by their side. If you don't know what that means, that's a pretty young thing. I'm always in support of that. I love having beautiful women around me, so I mean, I ain't gonna never have a problem with that.
I think we both feel the same way when it comes to that. But I thought it was dope because if you've been in that environment, that was the ultimate two-man game, right?
Hmm.
They had the two-man game, and I just think they took it to another level because to do the two-man game and then to do it in Paris,
Hmm.
if you Bronny and Bright, like Bronny, of course, you in the league now. Bronny was at USC. Bronny's a millionaire on his own now. But if you
Hmm.
Bryce, you know how ill that looked that you going back to school and I just took somebody on a date in Paris? Think about that. Like, first of all, no dude could compete with Bryce at his
No,
point, at his school.
nope, it's over. It's over.
It's a wrap. So I thought that was super fire that they was doing their thing out there internationally. Now they wasn't the only Team USA wasn't the only team that was winning. Bronny and
Yeah,
Bryce, they was winning as well.
it definitely was. Pooh, what up, Pooh? Jason Tatum. Now it's over. Did y'all think he did Tatum right? His mom Brandy was on social media. I think Tatum handled it well, but it has to be a blow to the ego. They all got egos. Once again, first of all, I'm I'm not for grown man's mama tweeting to come to his rescue. And his defense. Shout out to his mom, you know what I'm saying? Because I know how much, because my mom would probably want to do that same thing too. But at the same time, as a grown man, I cannot have my mom fighting my battles for me. But was it right? I mean, like again, and we can go sit up here and we can go back and forth about this all day. They won, so yes, it was right. That I think at the end of the day, they won. So yeah, then the right decision was made. The players that needed to be in and to play were playing. Tatum got minutes. Obviously, he didn't play in the first game. We all know that, but he did play in the Olympics. And they won. So yes, the right decision was made. And again, I spoke about earlier the team. The reason we have a redeemed team is because the year that they lost the Olympics, Larry Brown had young Melo, young Braun, young D Wade on the team, and they weren't getting the minutes over the guys that had been there before. That's usually how it goes. That's why I said this next Olympics in 4 years, Jason Tatum will more than likely have the green light to do whatever he wants. He'll be a starter and he'll probably play the most minutes or be one of the guys that are playing the most minutes. That's just how this thing works. Just be glad we won.
Shout out the pool. But first off, y'all think he did Tatum right. What did he do wrong to Tatum? This is not youth sports. This is not rec league. There is no obligation to play anybody. The coach plays who he feels gives him the best chance to win. And last time I checked, Steve Kerr did not lose a game during these Olympics. So he did the right thing. And I know that's going to sound like Tatum hate, but it's a fact.
Yes.
No, it's a fact.
Yeah,
it's a fact. He played who he felt gave him the best chance to win. If Tatum is not part of that rotation, then Steve Kerr has every right, and I think Steve Kerr has earned that right as someone who has 5 NBA championships as a head coach to say, I'm not going to play that particular guy tonight because he doesn't give me the matchup that I want. It's cool. It's all right. That's the first part. The second part, Trip, I 1000% agree with you. Tatum's mom, I get it. I understand. But no, you don't do that. All right. Again, this is not youth sports. You did not pay for him to be on this team. He don't have to play. And if he played 35 minutes, so be it. If he plays no minutes, so be it. The coach determines that. It's just like I used the analogy with Will over the weekend. You could be the man on your high school team. If we go on the AAU circuit together and the coach plays you but don't play me, that's the coach's decision. He don't have to play you. Tatum, I think he handled it okay. I don't think he handled it well, and here's why. Because I highlighted, if you look if you look back at the Serbia game, there are moments where he's sitting on the bench with his arms crossed, pouting, and that's happening early in the game. I'm not talking like in the fourth quarter that he's pouting. In the first quarter, he's already pouting, which led me to believe that something is going on behind the scenes, and maybe Kerr called out his effort. Maybe Kerr said to him, "Hey, you're not giving me enough in this setting for me to play you, so therefore I'm gonna go with some other guys." But in the gold medal game, as you mentioned, Tatum got his 11 minutes, and he played him, and he gave him the opportunity. I thought Kerr did a phenomenal job.
Here's my thing: was he even for all the controversy and all the whatever we want to say? Was he even a difference maker like that when he was in the game, or did the team just be great as a team?
I mean, because again, this is the controversy that we're trying to find in the perfection. They didn't lose one game, but yet we had people, and I said this before. There were some people who questioned, "Oh, how do y'all feel about Steve Kerr's coaching? They winning, right?" I'm good with Steve Kerr coaching because they winning.
Until he loses, which we gonna say
they ain't lose no games, right? So I'm good with Steve Kerr's coaching. I'm okay with it. And
guess what? His resume speaks for itself.
And his resume speaks for itself. He is a 5-time NBA champion. He good by me. He did what he had to do. He played the guys he felt he needed to play. He trusted the guys he needed to trust. Keep in mind, there was a lot of people that was questioning Joel Embiid. Why he keep playing him? Because he knew he was going to need Joel at some point. And when he needed him in the Serbia game, Joel showed up. But if you look at the gold medal game, when he knew he didn't need Joel, he only played him 11 minutes. He went with Bam and AD. So that is quality coaching right there. Understanding what personnel gives you the best chance to win. Steve Kerr did his thing. Tatum could have handled it better, but I think what I do like from Tatum is when they asked him the question about 2028, and he said, "I'm not going to make that decision based on how I feel right now." That's the one thing I did like. If you're Jason Tatum, take some time to step away from the moment, understand maybe my leadership needs to be a little better, maybe my overall approach and attitude needs to be a little better. And on the next go round, he will be a more pivotal part of that team that's going to be chasing gold. And I hope that Tatum plays in 2028 because he is one of the stars of our game. He's one of the young stars of our game. He has the potential to be the face of the league that a lot of you guys keep asking. Why isn't he the face of the league? He ain't the face of the league because he's sitting with his arms crossed pouting when he don't get to play. Let's keep it a buck.
And listen, at the end of the day, right? What if he's going to play small forward or power forward? He's playing the 3 or the 4, right? You're going to play him at the 3, and you got 2 future Hall of Famers in front of him and LeBron and KD. He's not going to get those minutes. You can't play him at the 4 because there's going to come times where you might have to guard a Jokic, and Tatum is not going to do that. He's not guarding the bigs from the other team. So yeah, sometimes being the best teammate is just being supportive of the guys that are on the court. Now, if they are losing and you are not getting minutes, I can understand you maybe being upset and being in your feelings because you feel like you could have given something different and maybe you could have gotten the win. But when we are winning all of these games, and with the exception of the last 2, they are convincingly winning these games. You have to give Steve Kerr his props. He has earned the right to make whatever coaching decisions that he wants. You said he's a 5-time champion. What else? You know what I mean? Like, come on, give him his flowers. Let that man do what he does, and let's move on. Shout out to Tyson. What happened with Anthony Edwards and the track star? Can y'all give the details? Noah Lyles did some cornball ish.
Goofy.
That was corny, my brother. I'm sorry. Congratulations on winning the gold medals, but that was corny. The whole situation was Adidas invited him to an event, and I guess he made the comment whereas of why would I go there? He's not even an NBA champion. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? They're inviting you to an event that they're having. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why does he have to win a championship for you to be at, for you to get an invite to that event? And this is also the guy who was going back and forth with the players earlier this year when they were talking about the difference between winning the NBA championship and saying you're the best in the world and winning in the Olympics, which made no sense because the US team has not lost in the Olympics for about 4 Olympics now. So either way you look at it, they're the best team in the world or they're the best team in the world. It doesn't matter.
First of all, it's super goofy of him. As you mentioned, he made the statement about Anthony Edwards. Let's keep it. And then he doubled down kind of because then when a reporter asked him again, he goes, "Oh, well, I wasn't saying that I didn't go because he's not an Olympic champion. I'm sorry, he's not an NBA champion. Ultimately, I didn't go because I had another engagement." But he goes, "But congratulations on winning an Olympic medal." So you don't want to acknowledge he's a world champion, right? Because they won gold. But Noah Lyles, let's keep it a buck. 95% of the population only knows you from your controversial statements. There are most people who do not follow track and field who don't know who you are.
I didn't know.
Right. I was about to say, as a sports fan, I did not know who you were until you made the comments about world championships. I didn't know who you were. And that's why, unfortunately, there were so many people that laughed when you didn't win your 100-meter relay for that reason, because you made yourself this public figure who then couldn't win your own event. Now, granted, he won another event later on, but there is one that he lost and he tried to use the whole COVID excuse. And then there's video footage of him running around and acting a fool on the track before the meet where people said, "Well, it don't look like you got COVID to me." But again, this is the attention that you brought on yourself. Most people don't know who you are aside from your controversial comments. And it sounds like to me you're very jealous of the attention that Anthony Edwards has already garnered as a young player in the NBA, that he has his own shoe and was getting this attention from Adidas that
Mhm.
you have not received. So it is what it is. Keep in mind though, uh, track and field athletes' career is a lot shorter most times than an NBA athlete. So when your time is done,
Mhm.
nobody's going to be checking for you. But Anthony Edwards has a chance to place himself historically amongst the greats.
Listen, I'm gonna just say this, and then we're gonna go to the next comment. The biggest track star in the world is Shakari Richardson, and that's it. And people, you know what I mean. So you ain't got a chance, brother. Humble yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. Humble yourself. Didn't Stephon Marbury say something about Curry and Braun? I see he was in
Mhm.
the front row of the title game. What did he say, Eric?
He said, so he gave his opinion on the MVP. He felt that Curry was the MVP, but he felt that Braun didn't deserve it. And that's what leads to the hate that Braun receives. I'm paraphrasing along those lines.
Okay,
I didn't completely agree with Steph um,
Marbury.
because, yeah, Steph Marbury, sorry. Because again, the MVP is a award given for the totality of the tournament. This is like the fifth time I've had to say it. But also, um, and I love Steph Marbury, but um, Steph Marbury, the Olympic team he was on, is what led to the Redeem team because y'all went out there and y'all didn't handle y'all business.
Mhm. And he's also I've seen him speak negatively on LeBron in the past as well. So I don't know if there's something there because I've seen a couple of times where it came off as he was hating on Braun. Now I'm not I have to watch the comment because I didn't see exactly what he said here, so I'm not gonna base.
It was a tweet. It was a tweet or a comment
Yeah.
under a picture where he goes in and I just didn't agree. Again, I didn't agree with it because it becomes a prisoner of the moment type debate. We're looking at Serbia. The game against Serbia was one of the most watched Team USA games ever because people went back and watched it again, and it's going to be one of the most talked about games ever. And
Mhm.
people are going to focus on the 3 pointers made, and they're like you said earlier, they're going to forget everything that led up to that point. It's almost like it's in a vacuum. It's like, oh, but this game is like, yeah, but what about all the games that led up to that?
Mhm.
And then even in doing that, people still forget Braun's performance in that game, him guarding Joker, him getting a triple double. So he's doing all these other things to impact the game, and we're solely focusing on Steph's shooting in that game. So I think that's where it gets overlooked. It's easy to fall in love with what Steph did. It becomes harder for you to deep dive and really look at like, yeah, but look at Braun's impact on the game, bro. Like, look at all the things he's doing to impact winning in these moments.
Yeah. It is what it is. Tyson, shout out to Tyson. Talk about how good Wimby looked versus USA. I love Wimby's game, man. He is the future. If he can stay healthy, he is the future of the NBA. He will be one of the top players in the NBA. It's a kid that can score from damn near anywhere on the court. Who is an elite defensive player, pretty much an elite offensive player. He's gonna get better. The more time he gets in the league. But yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about Wimby.
I thought Wimby was phenomenal, and I think the rest of the league and the world need to be on watch. Keep in mind, Embiid could play for Team France in 2028.
That would be hilarious.
And if you put Embiid and Wimby on the same team, like that's a problem. But Wimby's another guy. We talked earlier about guys who are going to benefit from this Olympic experience and who could be great during the regular season. Wimby's another one of those guys. Now that he got a little bit more quote unquote seasoning and play with these guys, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Wimby's going to be phenomenal next year.
I agree. Let's see. Scoop Hoop says, is Stephen Curry the best point guard of all time? A lot of people saying he passed Magic Johnson. What you all think? No. It's okay. Listen, when Steph won his last championship, he wasn't past Magic Johnson then, and there's nothing that he did since then that would put him ahead of Magic. Now, that's not to say he can't pass Magic because his career is not over, but him winning an Olympic gold medal does not help him in the debate of whether or not he's the best point guard of all time. Now, it is still Magic Johnson. I'm sorry.
Scoop Hoop, shout out to Scoop Hoop. You asking the wrong question. Steph Curry is not the best point guard of all time. Magic Johnson still holds that title. But if you want to know, has Steph Curry surpassed Magic as an overall player? Yes. Steph is a better overall player than Magic Johnson because we see what Steph can do off ball. Steph is probably even more dangerous off ball when he's running off screens and pin downs than he is on ball. Magic Johnson is still going to be the greatest point guard because Magic Johnson with the ball in his hands can kill you so many different ways. The difference is Magic can't beat you off ball the way that Steph can. So that's why I say you're asking the wrong question. Is he a better point guard? No. Is he a better overall player? Yes. Steph Curry has surpassed Magic Johnson as a better overall player.
All right. Let me see. Shout out to Gary Blankenship. Hey, I remember calling it Curry dropping over 35 in the game. Scoop Hoop. Trip. Don LeBron got 2 USA losses in 04 and 06. He lost, right? One of them was World Championships. Yes, he does have two losses as a member of Team USA. Not that anybody gives a damn about FIBA and what happens in the FIBA championships, but all right. And then another loss, he might have got 5 minutes in the Olympics that year. So yes, technically yes, he has 2 losses in Olympic play.
Well,
On
the 04
in USA, Team USA.
Yeah, the 04 was the Larry Brown team that Melo and Braun didn't really get much playing time on. The 06 one hurts a little bit more because by 06, Braun and Melo were playing a little bit more, and that ultimately led to Carmelo calling Kobe saying, "We need you," which led to 08 and a Redeem team. But with all that being said, I mean, are we trying to say that affects legacy now? I just want to know, like, what are we trying to accomplish by saying, "Oh, he got 2 USA losses"? Because if you're gonna say he got 2, I mean, Carmelo got 2 USA losses. What does it mean?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I was just. Is it just like we just want to take shots at Braun? Then all
Yeah,
right,
I
but
just
is
that's
that
what it
what this
sounds
is
like.
about?
That's what it sounds like to me because it's like we've never, as many times as people brought up the LeBron legacy, I've never heard one of our supporters ever say, "Doesn't he have 2 USA losses?" Never. And now we say, "Yo, he got 2 USA losses," right? I mean, I guess,
I
yeah, he
don't
got
know.
two. He did got two. He does.
Let me go to Hoop Ball Soup's comment as I love this one. Halliburton was having the time of his life, and I yes, he absolutely right. Hoop Ball Scoop, he definitely was. All right, let me
And
go back
that's
up to the. You got
why you
Eric.
get up the next question, and that's
Yeah,
how you be the best teammate you can be, even if you don't play. We were talking about Tatum earlier. As Trip gets this other question up, we were talking about Tatum earlier. Like I said, challenge you guys to go back and look at the Serbia game. When KD hadn't even checked in yet, KD was already excited, running up and down the sidelines before he even checked into the game, rooting his teammates on. That's what Tatum was supposed to be doing as well. You root your teammates on and you'd be fully engaged.
I love the tweet where he was like, he had the gold medal, and it's like when you get an A for the group project, but you ain't putting no work in. It's like,
That's
yeah,
cool. Listen. I'm sure he was practicing hard. I'm sure he gave 25 high fives, 32 you need a Gatorade. He was engaged. That's all you ask, right, Trip? You filmed a lot of sports.
yeah,
Just because you're
yeah,
not on the field or on the court don't mean you can't be engaged with your teammates. You can
yeah,
still be engaged
absolutely.
and still be right there. Hey, I'm right here. If you need me, I'm available. If not, I'm here too.
Yeah, absolutely. Pool. USA women's team wins gold, but had an unexpected title game with France. Asia Wilson is named MVP. Has the world caught up to the woman? No, I don't think so. They had one close game throughout this entire thing. Everything else was dominant, blowout wins. Sometimes you have an off night. I think that's more so what it was. I think that's just a blip in the matrix more so than anything else. The rest of the world has not caught up to the woman. We said earlier it was a 60 or 61 game straight wins. That would say otherwise.
Yeah, it just seemed like France played a great game. Also, keep in mind that was France playing in front of their home crowd, So there's a different
Yep, I
adrenaline
forgot
there.
about that too. Yeah.
That's a different adrenaline there as well. I wouldn't say the world's caught up to them because prior to that, Team USA was blowing everybody out by 20 plus. So until there's more competitive games prior to the championship game, it's still Team USA women.
Mhm. Who says I'm looking forward to the next bunch? Juju, Page, Caitlin, Angel, Brinks mixed with Asia Stewie. Outside of them, what vets come back? I'm gonna tell you right now. I would love my starting five going into the next Olympics would be Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, along with Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Sabrina Iescu. I would love that to be the next starting five in this next Olympics. But any one of those girls, I'm excited. I'm Eric. I'm gonna be at the I'm gonna be full, I got floor seats on the 20th when the Liberty play Dallas. So I'm excited. I'm ready to see the ladies ball out.
I mean, I think that core group sounds amazing. Uh, and I think they will be amazing. Who we missing on there? Maybe Ionescu, right?
Yeah, Sabrina.
Sabrina
She'll be back.
and yeah, Sabrina will be back. I'm trying to
She'll
think
most
who
likely
else.
be starting in this next Olympics.
Yeah, the 2028. We said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sabrina's 8. I know we're missing somebody, but Sabrina was the one that stuck out the most to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like that mix though, Pooh.
Right. Let me see what else we got. Then we got like two or three more questions left about the ladies, and then we're gonna wrap things up. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, you know what? Actually, there's a couple of questions about the men still. Kevin Carter says, "Let's give Drew Holiday some love. He's a winner, NBA title this year and a gold medal. Remember in 21 with the Bucks, then flew out and won gold. Holiday's just a stud, man. We've been giving Holiday his flowers the past couple of weeks. Um, I've been saying when we're talking about the different lineups, Holiday's your best perimeter defender. So depending on who you're playing, I wanted to see, and obviously funny thing is we said this last week, we may not get it, depending on how the draw lines up. So we didn't get to see U.S. versus Canada, but I was saying in that game you probably are going to have Holiday starting to guard Shea. So yeah, shout out to Drew Holiday. He's a proven winner, two-time NBA champion, and he's done it for Team USA yet again.
I love this for Drew Holiday because he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. He's always been a quality guy, quality NBA guy, but now the last couple of years with winning championships and winning golds, everybody has noticed. And I think it was, I mean, at least a month ago. I think it might have been after the Celtics won, where one of our supporters posted the question about, is he a Hall of Famer? And now, when you include another gold medal with 2 NBA titles for his career,
Mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong. We might have to look back, but I think he averages about 14 to 15 points per game for his career. So he's always been a pretty solid offensive player as well. I think he is a Hall of Famer because Naismith Hall of Fame is not just NBA; it's your totality. So when you add in the 2 Olympic gold medals with those NBA championships, and then with his personal stats, this solidifies him as an NBA Hall of Famer.
So yeah, you got the two championships, two gold medals. I mean, that in itself, realistically, is enough to get you into the Basketball Hall of Fame. But then when you add in, he's a three-time All NBA defense first team and three-time second team. I think those are going to push him. If
And
there was any doubt, those individual accolades will push him over the hump. Either way, though, for me, the two championships that, and we're not talking about we're not even talking about the six man or let alone a role player. We're talking
mhm,
about
a
someone who
starter,
started
yeah,
and
yeah.
heavily contributed to both of those championships. And if you think about it, right, they weren't the same before Holiday got there.
Hmm.
I'm talking about Milwaukee, but now even with Boston, Holiday changed the trajectory because no disrespect to Marcus Smart, who was Defensive Player of the Year, he's not going to get you what Holiday can get you on both sides of the basketball. Marcus Smart is more so, defensive, your defensive presence. Holiday is going to be able to contribute on both sides, and that's not in scoring, playing defense, but also facilitating the offense. He can do a little bit of everything, and they needed that in Boston. They needed Holiday there to win that championship. So, yes, he's a Hall of Famer.
No, that's a great point by you because for both situations, for Milwaukee, he helped get him over the hump. Because remember, they traded for him. And then the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with Boston. He helped get them over the hump. So
Yep.
that will be part of his history as well in the NBA. That as a great player and great leader, he helped get two franchises over the hump to be able to finally win an NBA championship.
Exactly. Denell Jackson, what's going on, man? Devin Booker impressed me. How he not changed his game, but he did whatever the team needed. I thought played awesome defense and hit shots. He kind of took Ant-Man's minutes. And this is why I said earlier in the program when we first started up, I said Devin Booker was the unsung hero for Team USA because he did all of the little things. You need some defense? I got you. You need me to hit a clutch shot? I got you. All right. You need me to facilitate the offense a little bit? I got you. Or you just need me to be there to support my guys? I got you. Whatever it needs to be done for us to get this gold medal, because I want one, I'm going to do, and I'm not going to sit here and sulk if I don't get the minutes I feel like I should be getting.
I thought Devin Booker was phenomenal. He's another guy that, though we don't view him as a young guy in the league, will benefit from this experience because he kind of, for the first time, saw what it takes to be a winner, right? I got to sacrifice some
Mhm.
things, but I got to be ready. He had a big three in the Serbia game. He had some big moments in the gold medal game. I thought he was phenomenal, and he played his role so perfectly, as Danelle said, that he did take some minutes away from Ant-Man because he became a guy that Kerr knew he could trust and knew that not only are you going to give me good defense, but you're such a reliable offense player that when that moment comes, you're going to show up. I thought Devin Booker was phenomenal in the whole Olympics, not just those medal games.
Mhm. Hoopballer Scoop says, I posted on my page. I think Caitlin Clark is going to have a great second half of the season because remember, she finally got some rest about a month. And remember, she played at Iowa a full season, went straight to WNBA season. She had to be tired. Now we will see the 6 or 7 threes like in college. I hope so because I want to see it, and it's great for the sport. So I hope she does.
I agree with this statement. Her transitioning straight from college to the WNBA is one of the things that we had highlighted before on episodes where she didn't get much break and then had to deal with the pressure of being the face of that, the number one draft pick and potentially the face of the future of the league. But I also think one part that you left out there, Hoop or the Scoop, was prior to this break, she was starting to adjust to the speed of the game. You started seeing her performances start to be better. So now with the break, and understanding what the league was kind of throwing at her defensively, I do expect her to be better in the second half, and I do expect her to have some bigger nights. Also, I think it also gave her an opportunity to practice with her teammates because there were some moments where you saw her teammates weren't expecting certain passes from her. They didn't really know how to play with her. Now they got that opportunity to practice together. They're going to be more comfortable together. So I do expect a great second half from her. And same thing with Angel Reese as well, because Angel Reese got the month off and got an opportunity to practice with her teammates as well.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think it's kind of the same. Yeah, she's not the only one, but yeah, again, I want to see it because I want to see women's basketball thrive, and I want them to keep up with what they've been doing these past couple of years. So big shout out to Caitlin Clark. I hope she does step her game up, and I want to see that back and forth between her and Angel Reese to see who gets the rookie of the year this year because they're both deserving of it. I want to see who finishes out the second half of the season and takes the award because that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to
Mhm.
step your game up and take the award if you want it. Hoop baller scoop. Can Asia Wilson eventually become the WNBA? I know it's early, but the way her career is going, she got a chance. She's a monster. She kind of took Stewie's shine. Stewie was headed that way. Then here comes Wilson. It's I'm not sure. Is he trying to say is can she become the WNBA GOAT? Is that is that what this question was supposed to be? Who ball scoop if you can. So I'm not sure if you
Uh,
was
I think he
I've
means the face of the WNBA
okay.
because he goes. I know it's early, but the way her career is going, she got a chance. She's a monster. She kind of yeah. I'm assuming, but hoop or the scoop. If you still tuned in, let us know. Let us know exactly.
Yeah, if you're saying can she become the GOAT, yes, because she's young enough. Um to do it. She still has a lot of time left. She could, she can continue to rack up the individual
Mhm.
accolades along with the stats. So that's possible. The face of the WNBA is tricky though, because all it's gonna take is for Caitlin Clark to have a good finish. Like, let's just say she finishes this season averaging 28-5. They're gonna be trying to make her the face of the league. So it's tricky. She definitely deserves to be the face of the league, but because of the star power that some of these other women have, it kind of makes it tricky, especially again, if Caitlin Clark does what Hoopballer Scoop says she may do during coming off of this break, and she just goes out there and lights it up. I don't know, man. They already missed the chance at that promo in the Olympics. Do you now, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you push, the young star power? Like, how do you work that out? So she can be, but it's tricky.
Yeah, not now that I'm rereading, I think that's what he means because he ends off by saying Stewie was headed that way. Then here comes Wilson. I think Asia can be the face of the league. I mean, with the Aces, with the success they've had the past two seasons, and depending on how this season goes, and then coming off a gold medal, she can be the face of the league. But it does really depend on the marketing, because it's not like the NBA. I think the NBA, the fans really dictate the face of the league. With the
Yeah,
WNBA, it's going to really be the marketing. And to Tripp's point, if Caitlin Clark has a great second half, you already know all off season they're going to push the narrative of Caitlin Clark.
mhm.
So it's really up to
Especially if she gets Rookie of the Year.
not only that, like because if she gets Rookie of the Year, I'm going to assume they made the playoffs, and
Yes,
so there's going to be that marketing push of our Rookie of the Year who was in the playoffs and was shining bright. All those things going to play. Whereas Asia Wilson's already a two-time champion, and she doesn't get the marketing that
yeah,
Caitlin Clark gets. So this is one of them situations where it's kind of the powers that be. They're going to have to elevate Asia Wilson to that point. It's not like the NBA where the fans kind of choose. When the fans gravitate towards somebody in the NBA, they kind of become the face. In the WNBA, you're going to have to promote them. So she can, but it's going to be tough. It's not a major media market in Vegas. Not that Indiana is, but Vegas, we're not talking LA or New York.
yeah.
And
I think Eric froze on us. Um, but the other part of that too, that we got to take into account. You know what I mean? Is the star power is just crazy. Even when you look at the shoe deal that Asia Wilson got, it kind of came after the whole controversy of, all right, Caitlin got Clark got her shoe deal, and then people started complaining about that. So now let's just go give Asia Wilson a shoe deal. Um, so it is what it is. She should be. She's definitely earned that, but will she? I don't know. With that being said, though, we're gonna get ready to wrap up because see, Eric is having a little bit of technical difficulties. For myself, Trip. Oh, my bad. Excuse me. Pardon me. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media. All right. Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/ Real Fans Real Talk. You see the YouTube up there, YouTube.com/ For the Fans Productions. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, if you're not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Thursday nights on Verizon 43 from 8 to 9 p.m., do not worry. You can still watch us from anywhere in the world. Just hit up that website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the two best podcasts out here moving. And of course, that's the Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast. With that being said, though, for myself, Trip Young, my brother, my co host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.